All right, welcome back to the Greenhouse Podcast. I've been gone for a bit, but you've been on, so it feels like, I know I really haven't been gone, but it's cool to be back. And this week is the week of Valentine's Day.
That's right.
So I wore my red shoes in honor of Valentine's.
Wow.
Yeah, see, I was thinking.
Once a year.
Once a year. No,
You
I
wear them
wear
at
more than that, but
Okay.
I haven't worn them a ton, even though they are very comfortable.
Yeah, they're nice.
So you can't wear them with a lot of different things. But
Well, I was thinking this morning about Valentine's.
you got me
I'm sure we
got me
have-
a Valentine's gift yet?
No. Are we doing that? Okay, I'm not sure, but you're going to, maybe.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have something for me?
Not yet, but
Okay. Well, I was thinking
we
about,
got a couple days.
I have questions for you.
Okay.
Okay. We've been married 25 years.
25 years.
But we've been like pastoring the last, how long have we been here?
9 years.
9
The
years.
church is 9 years old.
So you have performed a lot of
Lots
weddings.
of weddings. And it seems like in the last 2 years, like everybody's getting married.
Yeah.
Just like Rent Me Preacher kind of. Not really, but.
So you've done lots of weddings.
Yep.
There's been a few weddings that I remember one like a few years ago where you were doing a favor for another pastor and it didn't turn out. Do you remember that?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
They had like their dog as like the groomsman.
Yeah. And they didn't want you to talk about like being submitted to each other and stuff like that.
That's true.
That was weird. Yeah. But anyway, we've had to sing lots of wedding songs.
Yes, we have.
Because before you were a lead pastor, we were worship leaders. And so we got invited because we were married, I guess, to sing at everybody's wedding.
That's right. That's
So,
right, the married couple.
I'm laughing this morning thinking of all the songs that we sang because a lot of them we're more like, if we went and did a worship set at a wedding, which we've done that, I can't even remember like what songs we would do, but that was more natural.
Correct.
But we've had to sing some.
We got to sing specials.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Yeah. So, can you think of one that we've had to sing?
I feel like we had to sing From This Moment.
From This Moment.
I can't even remember who that was by originally.
Is it Shania Twain and...
it had like a key change and everything.
Yeah, that was a big song. Okay. I wrote down, this one's awful.
Okay, we sang it?
That we sang.
Okay, I'm ready. Give it to me.
We're white. We had to sing Endless Love.
We did.
Yes. And I think I knew this song because I grew up listening to like
Lionel Richie. I bet there's so many people that
but-
don't even know this song. I bet Landon doesn't even know that Endless Love, and he's capturing this right now.
No, I think that's the problem. I grew up knowing like Lionel Richie and all these.
Because your mom?
Yeah, my mom loved
70s was the
all that.
time frame, right?
Yeah,
It was the
but
best
you
music,
grew
best
up
decade.
not doing that.
I didn't listen to secular music. I was holy.
And then, do you remember this one? We had to sing it with no mic around a keyboard. I mean, around like a grand piano. She had a pianist there. When God Made You.
Yes.
Natalie Grant.
He must have been thinking about me.
Yeah, we had to sing that. I had to sing, I don't think you sang this with me, but the song My Valentine. I think you were in the wedding. I just
Jim Brickman? No?
No. Maybe he sings it. I think he sings it, but a country singer, a female singer sang this. You're all I need, my love, my Valentine.
That's right.
And
There's
then,
more?
Well, I wrote this down because I had to sing at my friend Bryant and Tracy's wedding, and he's a musician. And I had to sing Celine Dion's Because You Love Me. There's nothing about me that represents
so bad.
Celine Dion. So anyway, did you have any that you sang by yourself?
I don't remember singing any by myself. I mean, all those, though, were like, I'm not going to say they're traumatic, but, it
was out of our comfort zone.
We're not bad vocalists, but, like, we're just...
Those were big songs.
Big songs.
And people
big moments for people's lives. You don't want
people just think because you sing, you can sing
because
Celine
you sing
Dion.
How Great Thou Art, you can sing Celine Dion.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, I was just laughing, thinking of we never would say no to our friends or people that we love to sing in their wedding, but definitely
So,
funny.
You know, we've not really ever done much interaction with the podcast, so I don't know how we would get this information. You know, maybe people could like leave a comment on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, but like, you know, what's your like Valentine song, you know, or I think that'd be funny.
Do we have one?
I mean, I don't know.
What did we dance to at our wedding? It was, we're not romantic, are we?
We got to work on that.
It was.
Was it a Bebo Norman song?
Yeah, it was Bebo Norman.
People don't even know Bebo Norman. It's like, who's that?
Yeah. What was it, though?
I can't remember. It was so awesome. I wrote you a song, though.
You did. That's all that matters.
I wrote you a song at our wedding.
That was a great song.
Mm-hmm. See?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe, yeah.
Should I bring it back?
You should. Do you remember what it said?
I could write a bunch of more verses now.
There you go.
Yeah.
What was the chorus, though? Come on.
I have found a treasure in you.
Yeah, that's it.
I have found a treasure in you. Yep.
That was a surprise.
It was.
Okay.
I mean, I had the Garth Brooks mic.
It was at our wedding.
Yep.
And you had a friend bring a guitar out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe before we said our vows or after we said our vows?
No, this was at the very end.
After we said our vows, and you wrote me a song.
I did.
And I had no idea.
Had no idea. Surprised you.
That was a good surprise. And then you later recorded it on an album.
Yeah, but we recorded it a little bit differently. And
yeah.
You appreciated it, but didn't like it as much, you know, because it was a little different.
Yeah. You sang it to me. It was just you and the guitar. So
yeah.
That was good.
So Valentine's week,
yeah.
like, make it special.
Yeah.
And don't request for us to sing any special songs because that ship has sailed.
It's over. But Jeremy can marry you or renew your vows.
Yes, I
can.
can.
And I can help with the wedding coordination, but I don't want to sing From This Moment On.
Or Endless Love.
No. Maybe we might need to do like a karaoke wedding song night and just laugh. But anyway, we've been on a journey with our church through your sermon series, Saturated and Sent, for the last month. And so you wanted to talk a little bit about that today?
Yeah. I wanted to talk just, you know, every year when we start the year, we start the year with a fast. It's so strange because it's almost like January is like, I don't mean this wrong, but like really can be really powerful and momentous. And then like when you get into February, it's like, I don't know if it's like coming down the mountain. It's like when Jesus was with the disciples and they were transfigured and then they went down the mountain and it was like, man, they couldn't cast out the devils. Like, you know, February's been strange. We've had ice storms. We've missed one Sunday. We've had to do... So it's just been, you come off this high momentum and then, you know, you're met with a little bit like life, some obstacles or challenges, but God's been kind. The series that we launched the year with was how do we be saturated with God's presence, which fasting and praying does that. And then how are we sent by Him to live on mission? Mm-hmm. And there's this staggering study by a professor from Asbury Theological Seminary named George Hunter. And he just says that for the average evangelical Christian, the person that is in a non-denominational church or Spirit-filled church or, you know, could be Baptist, Methodist, whatever, at evangelical church, that they're in the church for 26 years before they ever share their faith.
Wow.
Lead someone to Christ. And so it's just a real tragedy, honestly. And it's beyond that, it's just disobedience to what Jesus said. Mm-hmm. Go and make disciples. So, you know, the church is God's expression in the earth. It's primarily how we bring salvation and deliverance and discipleship to people. And so, but it can become like just a place where we get comfortable, a place where we like our music, we find our preacher, we have our children's ministry, and if we're not careful, we can become consumers that just want to sit and be comfortable rather than people that are sent. It was never come and stay with Jesus, but it was always like go and make. And, so I think just the coming back to that mission and that mandate, and, we've been kind of in a season of seeking where we are saturated, longing to be filled with His presence, but His presence being with us and among us and in us was never meant to just end with us. It was always meant to motivate us and to empower us to do something for Him. And that sometimes is like going across the world. Mm-hmm. I think more times than not, it's going across the street. Right. And living our lives in this way so that people can see our light. And, I think even as we closed out the end of last year, one of the things we talked about on Vision Sunday was how we believe that we'll be in a year of expansion, and that's going to happen with what we're doing with our buildings, and, we're choosing an architect. We're in the process of master planning and designing and all that kind of stuff, which is exciting. We announced that this past Sunday. But also we're taking trips this year. We're planning a trip to Guatemala in the summer that people can be a part of, Africa towards the end of the summer, almost fall, and then Israel in late fall. And so, there's these opportunities for people to actually mobilize and be sent out and use their resources to do that. And I think that's important. But in the meantime, going across the street, living mindful of people that are far from God.
That's good. And I think maybe we could talk about just some practical ways of doing that, because, it doesn't have to be this weird, awkward conversation. It can be getting to know people. It can be just sharing the love of Jesus. And when the opportunity presents itself to share the gospel, because I think we've all maybe have a perception of the awkward moment, when you're, we've been, I think it's happened to us one or two times. We've literally been in an elevator and someone's like, "Do you know Jesus?" And you're like, "Yes," but it's just, it doesn't have to be weird, because I would never, that would be really hard for me unless I heard the Holy Spirit whisper to say that. Right. Then I would do it. Sure. But I'm just saying, sometimes I feel like it can be, we have this perception of what it should look like, when maybe it's just like you talked about, just good works, or just being kind. Yeah. And
I think, yesterday there were two opportunities, I think, that were very kind of subtle, but just, again, examples, small examples of good works and good words. You did both of those yesterday.
I did?
Yeah. So we have a neighbor. We live in a neighborhood, and we have a neighbor that it's the mom and the daughter had a baby recently that was 23 weeks.
Yeah.
They call it a micro baby.
Yeah.
So, they've kind of been in and out, and it's not like we're best friends or anything like that. They have a dog, we have a dog, they bark at each other, we say, hey, we've developed a little bit of a relationship.
Right. Yeah, I don't even honestly know
their names.
Which
is, we got some work to do.
But we are, have had a few conversations, and they've actually really
they've been in the hospital.
I feel like
150 days or something like that.
150 days or over 150 days in the hospital. So we've noticed that they've been gone, and so they pulled up yesterday. And, I waved at him, and she got out. She's like, "We're home." And I got to see the baby.
Still, it's got a little oxygen thing.
Oxygen tank.
It's like a miracle.
Really, she's a miracle.
We don't know where they are in their faith journey or anything like that, but they had a crib delivered. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah, I noticed they invited me to come over and see the baby while she was in the car seat in the car, and I could tell real excited just probably to have interaction with someone other than a nurse in the hospital. And so she's so cute in her little car seat and the oxygen tank and all those things. But I noticed there was a big box at her front door. So I just said, hey, it looks like you got a package. And she said, yeah, her crib came. And so I just walked away and came in and talked with you, and just I knew that there wasn't a male in the house, and not that they aren't capable of putting it together, but I know they've been through a lot. So I asked you if you would be willing to do that, and just wrote a little note and taped it on their door next to the box and just said, hey, if you need help putting this crib together, my husband would be happy to help you. Yep. Here's my number.
It's just a small, good work. Now, I haven't heard from them, and those of you who know me, that'd be a real big. I know. It'd be a big work for me because I'm not super handy.
We probably would be asking someone to come help us put a crib together,
or we would tell Josiah, our son.
Yeah, I was thinking you would probably rope him in.
Rope him in for a good work. And then last night we had dinner, and on the way out, like Luke and I go to the car. To get in the Jeep, and I'm like, man, it sure is taking her a long time to get her refill on her drink. You know, on some levels, I was getting a little bit annoyed. Then she comes in and she says, I saw this older lady, and I thought her hair looked really nice. Something like that, right?
Yeah, so I thought, I'm going to tell her. She had a cute little bob, and her hair was, just a real pretty silver, and I could tell it made her day that I just stopped and said, hey, your hair is so pretty, and it just made her day. And so on the way to the car, I was like, what if I made that a goal every day to compliment a stranger? And I don't know, I guess it felt good to see her reaction. I'm sure sometimes people could look at you like you're weird, but I don't know. I mean, I think that's showing Christ-likeness, and I think we all can sow seeds and help.
I think the principle in the kingdom is the same. If you're faithful with little, you'll be faithful with much. There's this measure of doing the small right things. And so I think it relates to sharing our faith, living on mission. I think if we'll be faithful in doing the good works and the good words and small things, then when the opportunity comes for to give somebody the Roman road or talk about justification or what it means to be saved by grace through faith, all those things will be ready. But I think our society is so isolated, anxious, afraid, being a calming presence in an anxious world. All those things that are small are big.
Right. I think people are watching more than we know. And when I look back and think through some of the relationships that I've had with people that aren't saved, more when I finally have that moment where I'm able to talk to them about the Lord, they will go back and tell me just my kindness or just stuff that I am like, I don't even remember doing that. I don't remember saying that. So it's just, if our goal as Christians is to be whole and become like Christ, then I think there's just going to be natural living your life in a godly way that people will walk. So like you said, when it is the right time, you can explain things. But people are watching far more than what we could even
It's like what Price has said to me. When people show you who they are, believe them. So people are looking for a believable, I want to believe in your Jesus, but I want to see you live like him. Right. And that's the tall order, I think, of it's why sometimes it is easier to go across the world than across the street because people are watching me. Mm-hmm. And people I don't think are looking for perfect. People aren't looking for us to wear capes. It's why, the title of my message was Win Hearts and Not Arguments. The reality is if Jesus has our heart, then we'll live from that place. If he's captured my heart, then I want to tell people about him. I want to be kind to people. I will want to do good works and say good words because of he has my heart. That's what Jesus said. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if he's there and he's captured me, it'll come out. And I think that's just what's important. I think, we live in, for our context is Middle Tennessee, so sometimes there can be this juxtaposition of where people live. If people live in a different environment that's very anti-God, that can make things challenging. But then I think if you live in an area where it seems like everybody's saved, that makes things challenging too. So it's like, how in my context do I produce good works and proclaim good words and not make it too difficult, but be led by the Spirit and follow him in that. The other thing that I thought that I mentioned that I think is important is to identify intentionally, who's around me, who's the one more for me, who's the person that I know is maybe far from God or lost or doesn't know him or injured or hurt. There's all kinds of ways to frame that, because sometimes people don't have a context for, hey, there's a God who loves me and he sent his son Jesus. Sometimes people have been injured and hurt, so they're away from him, or they're agnostic, or they're an atheist. We've seen all those gamut of things come to know the Lord in our church, and it's crazy. But I think if we don't live intentionally, like on mission of like, okay, who's the one person that I can start by praying for them. The thought that came to me again this past weekend was like, there's some people on planet Earth who have never been prayed for.
Wow.
And it's like, again, all my life I've been prayed for by my grandmother, by my mom, like all.
Right.
There's people that we seek even now to have as intercessors for our life and ministry. But there's people that they've never been prayed for. So to be able to like identify who the one person is and then just commit to bringing them before God. I not jokingly, sort of seriously said, hey, put this person on as your screensaver for the next 30 days, or set an alarm for 10:02. The Luke 10 verse 2, where Jesus said, pray that the Lord of the harvest would send laborers into the field. That way, so that you're reminded daily. When my alarm goes off on my phone, I'm going to pray for that person. That's what I've done. My alarm set for 10:02. So it's like, how am I living intentionally that way? So that, again, people can discover a life-giving relationship with the person of Jesus like I have. His peace, his joy, his life, his healing, his help, all that. I just think all that's like so important. So thinking about the church personally for me, and then thinking about our church locally. Sunday we announced that we're moving from 2 gatherings to 3 gatherings on Sunday. So moving from 9 and 11, and then on March 22nd, we'll go to 8:30, 10, and 11:30. And, we know that this is like growth, expansion. It's going to, be a lift for volunteers and leaders and staff, but it's about, Jesus said, I came to seek and save that which was lost.
Right.
And so providing an opportunity for people to find him, that's what we want to do. It's kind of the why behind it.
Right. And maybe even people to experience more of the Lord. I mean, people are moving here they're still moving here from all over the world. And I think people are, whether they're lost or whether they're just looking for a church family.
Place to belong.
A place to belong. I think that's the why. And obviously God's presence and him meeting with us is the most important. But we want to bring others with us.
And I think, if I'm living, not first as a pastor, but as a son of God and a follower of Jesus, and I'm living on mission and I've identified this one person, the church is God's way of discipling the world. That's his first choice. Does it happen other ways? Yes. But the church is the ecclesia. It's the called out ones. It's what God had in mind. He's redeeming the church. He's making her glorious and radiant. He's coming back for that bride. But it's the primary vehicle that he uses to make disciples, is what he said. So if myself and everyone in our church at Christ Chapel like identifies one person, and God allows us to see them rescued and saved, the need to be able to provide space for them so that they can be delivered, discipled, made whole. That's just what we're about and what we're going to need. So how can we help people be whole and become like Jesus?
Yeah.
So,
and we have, I think, like several ways that even inviting people to church. I know sometimes growing up, like the kind of churches that we grew up in, like we were a little scared because we were like, what's going to happen at church today? Like, is Sister Sally going to take off running and dancing like a chicken? Or it seemed like every time you would bring someone, something like
wild would
happen. But I do think that we want God's presence, and we would never make excuses for God's, what the Lord's doing in our church. But I think things like the sisterhood, pursuit, community groups, I think those are all opportunities to invite people to church. I know Easter's, coming up.
They're entrances that get people on a path.
And just being bold enough to invite someone. Maybe you're scared to death to share your faith, but you know that Jesus saves. Maybe just having the courage to say, hey, why don't you come with me to this event, or why don't you come with me to church? Easter weekend, whether people walk with the Lord or not, they're usually looking for something. And so we have Good Friday service, we have an Easter egg hunt, even that, like getting them just on the property of the church. Some of them have never even done that. And so it's just a huge step to, even though it's just in the parking lot or the grass or whatever, like they're around God's people and they're on church soil. So I think there's, opportunities in the life of our church to invite people to be around God.
Yeah. I mean, I think what has been burning in my heart, even this, when we launched Saturated in Scent, part of it came out of this trip I took to Greece, and how God took the gospel to Europe through Paul and through gospel patrons, and it was disruptive, and it was again not come and be comfortable. It was, let's start this church and go and move. And so I just, when I look at the New Testament church, like I just think, when God birthed the church on the day of Pentecost, it was new converts. It wasn't transfer growth or disgruntled people or, man, I didn't like that, so I'm moving here. That's not wrong, so don't hear my heart. I mean, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm grateful for the people that have been discipled other churches and now they're planting in ours because they're moving here or whatever. But the mandate for us is to make disciples of all nations and to see people become saved, lost people that don't know Jesus. And I just think they're all around us.
Right.
They're putting their faith and their hope in something else to save them. Their job, their money, the stock market, their doctor, their fitness, their diet, politics, all that. And it just doesn't fulfill. There's one name that brings salvation. And so we got to be people living on mission for that.
Amen.
So thanks for joining us today on the Greenhouse Podcast. Let's be people that are, again, who's the one for you? And let's be praying and seeking an opportunity to share Jesus with the world. We'll see you next time.